Now it's working. Perfect,
Nice.
perfect, perfect. As the Brits would say, now we're cooking on gas. Yeah, nothing better than a British joke to start and lighten up the mood with our fellow German here today. Right on. Shall we redo the introductions then?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we've
Let's
got a
go.
decent crowd. A lot of people have come here to hear you and know more about you. So let's get started from scratch. Morani, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you taking the opportunity to join me today so the English community and the wider Dofus population can know more about you, what you do in great detail. So if you'd like to get started and sort of give us an introduction, who you are in as much detail as you want.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for the nice introduction. Also, as I said before, thank you for inviting me to the podcast. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here. Um, I want to start with like a small introduction to myself, like who I am as a person. Besides Dofus, I'm 28 years old. I studied business informatics, and yeah, I'm a passionate football coach. I'm not playing anymore. Um, I'm just coaching, and yeah. Besides that, I also like to go for hikings and sightseeing, traveling, all that good stuff, and also really passionate about food.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, Dofus wise, I started, I think, phew, I really don't know, 16 years ago or something like that.
Wow.
Um,
All
and
timer.
on the, yeah, kind of. Kind of. I started on the German server called Nera.
Okay.
Back then there was a dedicated German server. Yeah, played there for a while. I played there with a lot of friends, also from real life. Um, and yeah, my journey ended somewhere, I think 6, 7, 8 years ago, and then started again 4 years ago, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Picking up the game and exploring the new one. And yeah, then I decided, I think it's already 2 years ago or something that I started YouTube. First I thought, why not sharing my experience, my knowledge with other people, so maybe I can teach them a little bit tips and tricks. This is also what I started with, and now I do my Zero to Hero series, where I also wanted to show new and returning players that it's possible to, yeah, success in the game, even when you start from scratch.
Fabulous, fabulous. So I'm gathering that you're an all-timer. You've played back in the golden age of Dofus when you did it with friends in real life and you knew people you played with. Which brings me to my first question. Really, is I'm always baffled by anyone that plays Glen Keith, please. Anyone that plays Dofus that isn't from France. So can you tell us the sort of story of how you got started? How did you know the game exists to begin with?
Actually, as I said, my real life friends introduced me to the game.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know the game from beginning, so they were a lot ahead of me. And I started with a Sacria this back in the days. Um, but then, yeah, I felt like a little bit limited. Also, when I'm alone, so I started over with a SRAM. That
Mm-hmm.
was a little bit better because it was not so bad as it is at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
because the monster were not able to see the traps. Yeah,
Ah,
that's
yeah.
basically how I got into Dofus, and yeah, since then never left it completely.
Nice. I feel like this is a an experience that everybody shares. Dofus is not
Yeah.
something that you ever quit. I remember asking
Oh,
Asterix about this. vision of the future, or he stopped playing and what people would remember about his content, and he said, "What? I'm not quitting. I'll never quit." So it's good to see that it's a quite universal experience, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like Dofus is doing a lot, in my opinion, when you compare how you did the professions back in Dofus 1.234 whatever
Mm.
to now that this is a big improvement, and yeah, there are a lot of things which improved and makes it more attractive to me, and I think maybe also to other people.
Fabulous. So it has changed quite a lot in your days, what you've seen. Which brings me to the question I really would like to ask you is, what is the most nostalgic thing that you remember from back in the office? What keeps you coming back to it after a 4 or 8 year break?
I think it is the versatility of the game that you can, yeah, basically make dungeons or go for professions or just hang around and talk to people you know from the past. Um, yeah, this kind of stuff, and yeah, it never ends basically. There are so much things to do. You can quest, you can, yeah, as I said, level up your professions.
Mm.
Maging. There are so many facets of this game, which makes yeah, for me, a special place in my heart.
Absolutely, yeah. It is fascinating, isn't it, when you think about how complex the game is when you get into it, when you realize it's played mostly by younger people, and you wonder how are they understanding all of these complex things like maging and counting sync and questing and theory crafting. Isn't it just great as a package as a whole?
Yeah, it's amazing and funny that you said like for young people it's hard. It's also for older people like 20, 25, 28. It's
Mm.
also hard to jump into this game. We, as a group of friends, started last week on the Mono account server.
Mm-hmm.
We played there together. So all the group from back in the days, and yeah, me my role is basically explaining how does maging work, how does leveling up your profession work, how do you make karmas by crushing items, all these kind of
Mm.
stuff. And I think one of my good friends is also here in the chat and is making good progress on the mono account server, so I think my tips and tricks help him to progress and get some karmas into his bank account.
I have an anecdote for you. So the first one is the first international trip that I've ever taken in my life has landed in Frankfurt. And as far as I was concerned, this was a marvelous experience. I've never seen organization of that nature. Imagine your first experience seeing a different country, it being Germany. That sets the bar so high for every other country, from the airport to the people to how they conceive of life together. So that was the first anecdote that I wanted to tell you, which I always find hilarious that my first trip ever was to Germany. The second one is,
Uh,
sorry?
yeah, and it was not even to Bavaria. Bavaria is even greater than Frankfurt.
Is anyone gonna be upset about that? That is listening.
I don't know. I think everyone agrees. Everyone who likes beer will agree that Bavaria is greater than Frankfurt.
I like beer, whatever it comes from, as long as it's good.
Uh,
These,
from Bavaria, it's the best.
yeah, I couldn't say no to that. The other thing is, I understand that you're a big football fan and a coach, and that is something I'm also into, but in England. And I understand there's a rivalry between the two countries that has historical significance, but right now it takes place in football fields. And I'm just glad that we have that in common. The fact that you coach, I have been a referee for about a year and a half while I was at university, but never a coach. So I'll definitely be asking you about your experience coaching people in Germany and get to know more about that. And the last
Sure.
anecdote I have for you is I've returned to the game a year and a half, and just like most people, you take breaks things happen, life happens, it gets in the way. And I remember starting with the primordial dofuses. So I've done my breeding, you get your emerald, and then I moved on to the one where you have to do treasure hunts. Can you tell us which one it is?
The Crimson.
Yes, sir. And being an English speaker, or rather preferring English content, I thought, you know what, let's just see what English content is out there. Can you tell me which video came up at the top with over 3,000 views that explained it perfectly?
I think it's how I explained how treasure hunting works.
Absolutely. So it was your video. So that's where I caught where I realized that you exist. You put excellent content out there, and thank you very much for being here today.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I think this was the one of the best viewed videos on my whole channel, I think, besides the leveling stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely up there as far as tutorials go, and I think there's a lot
Yeah.
of that in your channel anyway.
Yeah.
I suppose the natural question to ask you at this point is, can you tell us more about your experience going from someone that plays the game, enjoys it thoroughly, and has just decided, you know what, I'm ready to do a bit more with it. Let's just try something completely different. Not play anymore, let's break our head with editing, recording, and all these things. Can you tell us how the few moments that preceded it and why you've done it?
Yeah, as I said before, I think with all the experience over the past 16 years, I thought I'm able to give something back to the community to help them with some little videos. Um, for those who are like a OG follower of my channel will realize that I'm not that great into editing. I do some few things, but at the moment I'm pretty limited because of my PC. It takes ages, so I don't do that, or I don't like to do that. So, but this is something I want to invest for the future, so I can also do some crazy editing like you. I really like your editing style, and it's always funny and always hilarious. So I'm always watching your videos with big smile.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I haven't done that in a really long time. I've been focusing on sort of understanding what streaming is, how it works, and what sorts of value I could be bringing to the world, as opposed to just sit down in front of my computer and just break my head with DaVinci Resolve trying to get funny memes posted on YouTube. Fab, fab,
Can
fab, fab.
can I jump in and ask you a question? So
Yeah,
like,
of course.
uh, how what does Dofus mean to you? As you said, you came back 1.5 years ago. What brought you back to the game,
I think this
except
is
of my
this is a good
video?
opportunity to tell everyone that I have broken with the normal tradition for Morrany because he insisted on it being a back and forth. We might we might carry on this tradition, we might not. We'll see how it goes and reevaluate at the end. So your question is how what it means to me, Dofus, in general. I think it means gaming. I think there's no difference between the word gaming and Dofus as far as I'm concerned. It was the first time I ever felt the compulsion and cared about anything digital enough that I wanted to get the best PC of the moment. I wanted to play it day and night. There was a summer when I was 15 years old and I was so much into it where I've just decided I didn't want to travel. The whole family left the house and left me enough food and money behind so I could take care of myself. So Dofus, as far as I'm concerned, rhymes with gaming, with a big G. So it's the OG game for me up there. Lots of memories with people around that I knew, friends. We've played it together. You'd go to their house, they'd come to your house. We used to go to some places called cyber cafes. I know they don't exist anymore. But it was essentially a place where you'd go to, rent for an hour or 2 hours, rent a computer, and just log into the internet and play with
That
others. Yeah,
sounds nice.
yeah, it was
Very
amazing.
nice.
Thank you very much for that question. It's a
You're
blast from the
welcome. You're
past.
welcome. Yeah, it's always good how other people think about Dofus and how they got in touch with Dofus.
Yeah, but since you've asked me that question, I'd like to return it to you. What does it mean to you?
Dofus is for me like a never-ending story. Like you cannot finish the game basically. Yeah, there's so many things to do. I think Aslix finished like now the achievement, so he has every achievement done.
Yeah.
I'm far away from that, but I'm also not really interested to do that because I don't know. I don't have the um yeah the belief that I can do that like Aslix. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's so versatile, as I said. Um, brings me joy also now with friends from friendly real life to play the
Mhm.
game. It makes a lot fun, and yeah.
Cool. Signature question. I log into Morrany's account right now and press the recall potion on your main account. Where is it taking me and why that zap in particular?
It's the breeder village zap.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I cannot tell you why it is that one. I had my zap in the days. I had my zap at the Mattress from Harbor, but I don't
Oh.
know when I changed it to the breeder village. I think it's because of the bank and all the marketplaces where you can sell stuff yeah. I think that
Mm-hmm.
was the reason. And yeah, I don't know. I know I also like the color green. That's
Yeah.
maybe something.
Fair enough. That's an. I've got to accept that answer. Yeah. The green is peaceful on the eyes. There was
Yeah.
always a reason why I never quite liked Bonta. I've not done any alignment quests there. I don't go there at all unless I'm made to go there. And there is an element of brightness in there. The color scheme, the lighting, everything about it just does not make me want to go there. But so I definitely understand why the color green and the peaceful character of that area makes you want to go there and yeah, find yourself. That's really cool. That's amazing.
Yeah. And it's also pretty central, From there, your zap costs are not that high.
Now that is an excellent point, isn't it? That tells me the story of someone who has ran the math. Go on, tell us.
Yeah, I know I didn't run the math, but when you look at the World of 12 map,
Mm.
then you see Breeder Village is basically the center. When you are in Bonta, it's pretty far away. For example, for the low level stuff. For higher, it's maybe better to
Mm-hmm.
have there, but for low level or mid game, I would say Breeder Village is good. And there's also my Zero to Hero team located.
Fabulous. Yeah, that was going to be my next natural segue, which is there was a point in time where I have seen through your content, I've come through your content, and I've seen that you used to do a lot of high level content. A lot of Let's Fight XLII, so 42, which is 170. I've also seen a lot of 200 characters in there. And then all of a sudden, in that succession of uploads, there was a shift. Morrany has decided, I'm not doing anything here anymore. Let's go back to basics and start a team from scratch. What happened there? Can you walk us through the very few moments that led to you taking that decision and why it is? What were you thinking?
Yeah, I wanted to challenge myself a little bit, and I wanted to learn the classes because when you do like power leveling, uh, the strat I used for XLII leeching, then you don't really know how to play the characters. So
Hmm.
and I decided to do that to also play characters I didn't play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can blame me, but a panda has to be in there.
Ha.
um,
That's
for
good.
those who don't like that, okay, but yeah, it has to be. And there was also a big revamp from the panda, so I took him. Then I also decided to go with the masquerader. IOP got a revamp as well
Mm-hmm.
some days ago, and yeah, an Eka Flip is pretty nice looking,
Mm-hmm.
but I never played him really much, so this was the reason why I started this. And yeah, I wanted to learn the team and wanted to start from scratch and show it to the people that you can do it, and it's not all about high level 200 dungeons or content.
Just for a bit of context for everyone listening now and in the future, can you tell us what it is exactly that made you realize that you weren't learning the classes? Because there was a change that not many people are aware of if you haven't played back then with the Panda. Can you tell us exactly what that was?
You mean the Panda change from with the invulnerability spell and stuff
I'm
such,
more
or what do you
referring
mean?
to the fact that on your leech, XLII leech, you
Yeah.
use the old strategy of carry and then the person above would do all the
Yeah.
damage. Can you run us through a lot more of that kind of that mechanic?
I don't have the whole change log in my mind, but back in the days it was you were able to carry a person and the damage was transferred to your panda, and the whole thread was about having a 50% in every element. Pandawa with an ivory is carrying a Dacria who is in I don't know how the spell
Berserk.
yeah, Berserker state, yes, you're correct. And it's just dishing out a lot of damage, and the panda is controlling the map. It was like as I mentioned, this was an auto win, and I'm really glad that they removed it.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who used to use that as a way to generate karmas that were gutted with that change, but even, I mean, everyone could have told you it couldn't last. It was too good to be true. It made dreams easy, it made dungeons easy. It was like a shortcut.
Yeah, but what is the reason, or what is the enjoyment when you have an easy game? You stand your panda in the middle of everyone, and then your Sacria is fighting and killing everyone else.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is for me. It's not fun.
I agree. It was good while it lasted. You've made a good video out of it. There's a lot of people have got power leveled and got to really, really, really high levels, but now it's gone and we don't miss it. What was the other thing that you've mentioned about the lack of challenge in running a level 200 team? Have you done all the sort of end game dungeons and then realized there's not much for me here, or what do you mean by you didn't find challenge at that level?
I was kind of bored to play always with like a 200 team. I had a team like with a Panda, Kra, Feka, and Enotrof, like the basic range damage team.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just wanted to try something else. I wanted to know about more about the game, about other classes, and this was basically the reason. I never touched every piece of content in Dofus. So I was never in a corruption dungeon or a war dungeon or something like that. But yeah,
that is
I don't know.
exactly the reason
What
why I
about
asked.
you? What about you? Did you finish or touch everything in the dungeon in Dofus? Every content?
Yes, pretty
Yes?
much, with the exception of a couple of dungeons like Proto. I've never done that one, Belly of the Whale. But pretty much every other dungeon I've done, I have a completely different experience to the normal folk. I've joined back a year and a half ago after a 15-year or something like that break from gaming in general, and I've started the team, the one you were running level 200, cleared most of the game content back when achievements used to give a lot of mats, geared them all up and everything, and then I thought, at this pace I'm gonna finish it really quickly. But what I wasn't doing is learning every dungeon on its own properly. So one of my guildmates, his name is Sevi, he introduced me to Dreams, and I think I've never recovered from that, from that discovery. Once I discovered Dreams, I've completely stopped playing the normal way, set up a new team, and then learned the entire game mechanics, the bosses, the fights, every mob, through games. And I've not left the Well of Dream for 6 months straight. And that's how I've learned about how to play the game. And then recently, And then I've left the Well of Dreams with about 3,500 big chests, or chests in general. And I've done a spectacular opening with a bunch of friends, Washington and Eslex, and a couple more people, Leo and Acro. And I've dropped so much resources that I'm set for life as far as I'm concerned in Dofus. And my only concern is being outrageously generous and giving people some of what I've made back then. Yeah, so
Nice.
completely different experience of the game to speak of.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, can you tell us about the zero to hero? Do you have any sort of guidelines, rules, things that you do that you don't do, like sort of an Iron Man? Is it an Iron Man type of thing?
It's not a completely Iron Man, so I do use the markets.
Okay.
I do use my level 200 main account for maging. So because I wanted to explain also how maging works, and this is a little bit complicated if you have to ask someone else for maging, and yeah, you are wasting their time. So this was an exception I made. But besides of that, I do everything on my own. I craft my own sets.
Okay.
Yeah, that's completely from scratch. So like no leeching from my level 200 character or from somebody else.
Yes, I get you. I have been following your series and I find it intriguing because contrary to what you're doing right now, I followed the normal path of straight to 200 and then start exploring. So I suppose what I'm missing out on, or what I have historically missed out on, is what Washington would say, experiencing the dungeons at their levels. So what you're
Yeah,
doing right now, Dramadira, the video you've uploaded earlier, you're doing it with a team that is close to the level of the dungeon, so you get to experience the hardships of it, as opposed to being
exactly.
200 and just wiping them all with one or two hits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
So I'm just conscious of the fact that you said earlier you haven't done some end game dungeons and now you're starting from scratch. Is that something that you want to get to once you get to 200?
Of course, yes. I want to go as far as possible with this team to make also or show the crowd that it's possible that you can start from scratch and end up in fighting all the endgame dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely something.
Mm. Yeah. You've mentioned Majin earlier. I would definitely be curious about how you would approach a video like a guide to Majin made by Morrany. If I put that to you right now, what comes to mind? What are the first ideas that you get in your head when it comes to Majin and guide? These two words.
I think I would start with the basics, like the density of the runes.
Mm-hmm.
What is the density? Then how you apply runes. Yeah, basically you have to have different mages, like really from the basics.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also explain that you need the mage at the certain level. So for example, if you want to mage a level 60 item, your mage has to be at least level 60.
Yeah.
Then control dropping, counting thing for over mages.
Mm-hmm.
What else? The no further smith magic rooms, transcendence runes it's called.
Trans runes,
Um,
yes.
all this stuff. I think, but I think I would divide it into more parts, like a beginner one with really the basics,
Mm-hmm.
then advanced one, and like a demonstration of, I don't know, a little high level item or something.
I love it. I love it. You've mentioned everything from basic to high level. Like control drops is a really interesting concept, but that you don't start with usually. You get count and
Yeah.
sync, understand how to use the runes and at which thresholds to use them, and then once you get advanced, you just start thinking about these small minuscule details that can make a big difference in the quality of items that you create in general. Yeah, thank you very much for
Exactly.
that answer. It's brilliant. I love it.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And you've got someone who will watch, like, and subscribe if you post a video about about Majin. So we're just waiting for that to happen. The world needs one more Majin video. Cool. I still want to drum a bit on your experience doing Zero to Hero because you're at episode 34 or something like that, if my memory serves me right.
39 already, I think.
Wow. And doing something for this long and engaging with it fully cannot be without its challenges. So, what are the challenges that you have encountered with the parameters you set yourself for this series?
There were some dungeons were pretty hard around the level 100 area. It was really, really challenging. Dramax Theater. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot do this dungeon at level 100.
It's
That's
really difficult.
impossible.
Yeah.
That's impossible. You need
Mm.
proper level 100 gear to do that. I tried it with like decent level 80 gear. It
Mm-hmm.
was really, really, really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Who said? Somebody says you can do. Yeah, you can do. I know, but
Yeah.
for people who started from scratch and have like level 80 sets, it's hard. Or
Mm.
also for me, I don't know. I don't like Coolidge Dungeon. It's something really frustrating for me.
I was gonna ask you about that because it was one of the things I've noticed about you where if we can say Morrany has a character that he plays in his video, doing Coolidge has definitely brought you out of that character and we've sensed the frustration. What are some
Yeah.
other things like Coolidge that have really tested the idea of doing Zero to Hero?
There. I really I have to think about that, to be honest. What was the challenge? Yeah,
So,
getting the money is of course the challenge, but is there a dungeon? Yeah, Dramax Theater for sure.
mhm.
Coolidge for sure. Besides that, I have to think about it. Maybe I can come up with an answer later. I have to think about it a little bit. What comes into your mind?
With how do you mean with difficult experiences?
Yeah, okay, you said you rushed straight to level 200.
Yeah. I'm going to tie it to something that you said. Dramax Theatre, for those of you who don't know, is one of the hardest dungeons to face if you're doing dreams. It's the absolute worst. And there's a reason for why. After floor 400, they just remove it. Because the scaling is just insane. Here's how it works. Dramax starts his turn. He's invulnerable for the whole fight. He doesn't have too many HPs. It's like 10,000. You could do that in 2 or 3 hits. Anyway, he will summon 4 or 5 or 6 maybe summons around, and you have to kill them all. But before you get to that point, each and every single one of them has its turn, and they play next to each other. So they play in succession. And what they do is transpose, so they mess up with your layout. So if you like one of those people like me, who like a neat pack team around one mob so you can expect and know what you're doing next, it just messes with it. They transpose all your characters all over the map. They put you in unhealable states. Others ground you. They have all these sort of silly things, and their HP just scales so much. I don't know how people do it at level 100. I've never done it at that level, but doing it in dreams is definitely a challenge. It's one of those fights before which I pause, catch a breath, do a lot of theory crafting. I need to have a lava smith in every single character. I've got to focus. I've got to not have anything left in the next hour to do and just pause, focus, and do it properly. So definitely I would say that is a challenge even if you're level 200 with a properly geared team. That dungeon never gets easier.
It sounds horrible. It
Yeah.
sounds really horrible.
Yes, yeah.
So another reason not going to dreams.
But the rewards are excellent if you conquer that side of the game.
Yeah, that's true. I saw your video and you dropped 3 Jahashes?
It was
Was it like
4 actually.
4? Man, imagine dropping 4 Jahashes.
I don't have to imagine, it has happened. And I'll do you one more. We've opened the chests specifically before the 2nd of December almanacs. So we've done on the 29th of the month before, specifically so that we have a few days to gather the resources and then craft. and I've crafted all 4 at once. I've made a video about how to maximize your wealth, how to grow your wealth using
Yeah.
almanacs events, and that was one of them. And I've used it to craft 4 of them, and I've saved 1, so I've ended up with 5 from just starting with 4, which was brilliant. If that's not a motivator enough to jump in the well of dreams, I don't know what is.
No, there is so much more to discover for me, to be honest. Every class gets changed so often, so that's on my bucket list for me personal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I At some point I have to get in touch with dreams, but at the moment I'm not mentally prepared for that.
The thing is, if you carry on at the pace you're going at right now, doing quests at their level, it will come a point where you engage with the Volbis quest, and whether you like it or not, it will push you into the Dream of Wells to drop some quest items before you carry on. And if you're already there, might as well just finish, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not easy to drop them. For me, it took 171 floors. So if you get to 371, then you've not got long before you finish a full run. Might as well finish it.
I thought having 4 Dofus at the same time is horrible, but that seems really horrible to me.
Have you already finished your Ochre quests on all 4 accounts?
Not on these Zero to Hero
Mm,
accounts, but I on my main accounts I finished all 4s. Yeah.
that's amazing. So
That
you've 4
the
packs.
only yeah
Wow.
the only Dofus who is missing is the Bulbus on my main
Ah.
accounts.
So even in your level 200 team, you haven't quite engaged with that side of things yet.
Yeah, true.
That's if you said earlier that you were lacking challenge at the level 200, go to Dreams. It will deliver, that's for sure. Yeah.
I have to try it. Yeah, you're
Mm.
right. But at the moment, I think I will stick to my Zero to Hero team
Hmm.
and try to make as much as progress possible.
Fabulous, fabulous. It brings me um, to the next natural question. What do you think of Zero to Hero? How long is it gonna go on for? Is this the content that we can expect on Morrany Dofus's YouTube channel? Or is there anything else on top of that that you're thinking of?
Of course, the Zero to Hero series will continue as long as I or the community wants it. If there's some point where somebody is saying like, please stop it because it's awful, I will stop. But I think the people like it, so I will continue it, and I also like it. So this for sure I will continue. I'm planning to do like complete tutorials on Quest. So from Incanam over Astrup, main quest line, all Dofus's quest. So basically, how the Dofus Pool and Noobs website is built up,
Mm-hmm.
but as a video.
Wow, it's amazing how everyone will approach it differently. You've taken the wiki that everybody follows, so to speak, and you've turned it into a
Yeah,
video series that people can watch. That's outstanding.
yeah, that would be. This is my vision. Yes.
For just this series. And if I may ask you, be cheeky and ask you, is there anything else that is working in the back of Morani's mind? Any other series? Because I, for one, miss the, what is it called? The treasure hunt. That little aspect of the game you've taken, you've made a specific video about how everything about it works, and then you just throwing it out there. Do you wait to come across things like that, or do you have a list that you're working from?
Yeah, there is basically a list, but I want to share that when I come along it. As you said, like when the Zero to Hero team comes to that point,
Mm-hmm.
I will make a video about that and explain how it works.
Fabulous. So you're waiting for it to happen, sort of, so to speak, yeah.
Yes, and also as I said before, for my new PC because I'm broke and I have a laptop which is not that great to edit, and it takes a lot of time. So.
Mm. So is the content that you engage with in the game depending on is tied to the content that you can create. So you won't do something in the game that you can't turn into a video, so to speak.
Yeah, I cannot turn a video in the quality I want because it will take me so much time because my PC is so slow.
I'm almost tempted to jump to the last segment and just ask you, how can people support you so we can see more Morrany Dofus quality? But we will hold off on that thought for a bit.
Okay.
Yes. And I'm gonna ask you one more question, and then I want to make an announcement to everyone in the chat. Recently, thanks to your efforts, tuning in, engaging in the chat and everything, I have been offered affiliate and I've accepted it. And it turns out that ads are mandatory once you become affiliate and get all these nice perks that are offered in the channel for you. So you get these channel points so you can engage, ask me questions. You can get nice tags and everything. You can subscribe to the channel to completely remove ads. So all these nice things have been offered that will make our interaction more rich and brilliant. But the downside to it is ads are now mandatory. And what I've decided and thought of for the channel is every time there is an ad that I can't snooze or just completely skip for everyone, what I will do is just take a break. So you are sure that you've not missed any content in the channel. Whether I'm playing, whether I'm making a guide, whether I'm having a conversation with a brilliant creator like Morrany today. Whenever there is an ad, I will stop and take a break myself. With that said, there will be a break in a minute and a half. Yeah, so with that said, Morrany, I'd like to ask you a quick question again.
Sure.
Quick fire, you've got 1 minute. I want you to ask 1 minute and a half, and I want you to answer as many questions as you humanly possibly can. And I know you can do a lot because you're a brilliant young man. First of all, what class would you get rid of if you were able to right now?
Heliotrope.
Wow. Wow. This is not gonna please many people because heliotrope is very much used in the game.
I know.
Wow. We've got an objection from Sevi already. You need to make a formal apology after this. Joking. What do you think is the class that is most relied on that shouldn't be? Too overrated.
Cra.
Ooh, I'm gonna take this personal, Morrany. This is my main account.
I know.
What do you think is, from having tried multiple accounts and characters, what do you think is the character that people sleep on? Many people should try.
Sarida.
Oh, Mr. Black is dancing while sleeping.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sadie, what? Can you tell us more about why you picked Sadie as opposed to, I don't know, Zeller or other classes?
Because I think next guest. I picked study. I don't know because everyone is everyone doesn't like the Sarida, so I think it's not so much played in the game, and
Cool.
I tried it and it's nice. I really liked and I really enjoy the Sarida. So
Fabulous.
I'm on the Mr. Black's side.
Fabulous. We will take a minute and a half break while it finishes, and the ad is playing now. There's nothing I can do about it. They are scheduled by Twitch itself, and I think it's running at the moment. So I've just told people in the chat to tell me when the ad ends so we can resume. Sure. Thank you for the sub. Thanks for the sub, Sev. Just one quick second. We've got a minute to go, Morrany. I'm just gonna have a quick chat with Sev, people that can hear my voice and see what they're on about. We've got a minute, and then we'll resume the quick fire round.
Sure.
How are you finding things so far?
Very nice. I really like the conversation with you. I think you're doing a great job as a host, leading this conversation. Very nice.
Thank you very much.
I feel really comfortable.
That is the goal. one thing that a friend in private conversation I've had with a friend of mine who doesn't know anything about the game, and I tend to ask people like that to give me their opinion because they'll be more objective than if they knew what the game was about, and they might be biased. And I've asked them about making people comfortable in conversation, and they realized that there are a couple of things that are a hit, at least with asking you quick fire things that put you out of your comfort zone, and you're able to just think on the spot. And do you see what I mean? Things that are unorthodox that get you out
Yeah.
of your shell, and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
you're having a good time. Welcome back, everyone. Apologies about the ad. I did not mean to run ads on my channel. It just so happens that it is doing so well. A lot of you are supporting me so much that Twitch has decided to run ads on my channel. So apologies. That's all I can say, really. I've made a golden promise to everyone listening today. Whenever there is an ad that I cannot skip, we'll just take a break, use the toilet, have a quick conversation, and then resume. With that said, Morrany, are you ready to resume the conversation?
Sure. Go for it.
Fabulous. Did you enjoy being put on the spot, or should we talk about something meaty? What do you reckon?
Whatever you prefer. I also can be on the spot.
I very much enjoyed you throwing answers that I've never heard before to the quickfire round. So I think let's carry on with that.
Let's go.
Yeah. I think Sevi has given you a warning. He's one of the VIPs of this channel. He has given you a warning for your answer about Saddies. Can you do better next time, please?
No.
Fabulous. Morrany tomorrow completely quits playing the game. Starts in a new server after Unity rolls out or whenever. Mono account, you can only pick one character. Which one are you taking?
I think
Quick,
I
quick,
would
quick.
say Steamer. Foggernaut.
Foggernaut. Isn't that interesting? I'm really interested by that. No Sadie this
Please
time.
no Sadie.
Can you please tell me why Foggernaut? And I'll tell you why I'm asking this question. I'm insanely curious about the class. I want to start one very soon. But what do you find interesting about it? Have you played it? What can you tell me about it?
I played it a little bit, and I think it's pretty versatile. You have so many opportunities. You can heal, you can make damage, you can summon your turrets, you can swap, you can basically do everything you want. And yeah, that's a little bit complicated, this class, so it's not so easy to play, and this is the challenge I want to face.
So you've completely removed Elio from the game, and then you moved on to the next most complicated one.
Yeah, maybe it's Xalo is also a little bit complicated.
Yeah.
I didn't play Xalo so much, so I cannot say anything about that, to be honest.
Brilliant. This question I've added to my bank of quickfire after speaking with Golden Spirit because I like the way he phrased it. Tomorrow Morrany is an intern at Ankama. You can accidentally trip and cancel one dungeon forever. Just delete it. Which one are you deleting?
For sure, Drachma. Dramax Theater.
Oh, Dramax Theater. Isn't that interesting? Is it influenced by your experience so far, or are you talking from the standpoint of someone who did a lot of 200 dungeons as well?
No, it's from the Zero to Hero experience. I don't know. I don't like this dungeon. And as I said, basically, I think we are matching because you said they removed it from the level 200, no, level 400 floor. You said, or?
400. Once you reach floor level 400, no more Dramac, no more Puppet Master.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'd completely remove that. But I have a follow-up question about that. Have you done Fonoroshi in your Zero to Hero? I've not seen it yet in the series. Have you done it?
No, I didn't do it because I think it's level 130-ish.
Yeah, I think it's
or
140.
Yeah, 140, and my team is not there. And if I'm not mistaken, they changed it a little bit, so it should be a little bit easier now.
Yes, but what that tells me, as far as I'm concerned, is your answer could change in the future if you encounter Fonoroshi.
Yeah, but I'm playing 4 characters who have good mobility skills, so
Yeah.
I should be fine. I should be fine.
To everyone watching, I've done an in-depth video on Funaroshi, how I do it in Dreams, which is much harder than just a normal dungeon. There are a couple of tips and tricks that you should definitely know about the dungeon on my video on YouTube. I've posted it. One of them is using the barrels that are scattered all over the place. They have magical effects. If you interact with them, they can pull you, they can push you, they can give you 10% final damage for the whole fight, which I definitely recommend getting on all characters at least once in the fight. Fabulous. So you're prepared, Morrany. If you ever get to the Fonoroshi bit, there are a handful of good tutorials out there.
I will watch your video for sure.
Fabulous. Thank you very much. Boss mechanics so far. Should we ask this question from a standpoint of just 0 to hero, or let's go with that. So far, what have you found in doing regular normal dungeons? What have you found? Which ones have you found to be perfectly balanced? Good challenge without being too OP, too difficult.
I would say Moowolf dungeon at level 100.
You were perfectly comfortable with the mechanic of having to hit it to vuln it and then do damage.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
It's not that easy at level 100 because
Yeah.
you have to spend attack to make him vulnerable and then kill him. But I think it's okay for that level area.
How many APs does the average really good player well geared at level 100 have? Is it like 10, 11?
I would say 11. 11
Okay.
is average, I would say.
Well, that's amazing. I mean, back when I played, if you had 8 or 9 AP, you were bomb. But now you're telling me you
Yeah.
have as many AP as I do at level 200 in my perfectly geared account. Whoa.
Yeah, when you take the level 100 trophies, that makes your life a
Right.
lot easier.
And I
When
suppose
you run,
exos.
yeah, you can. Yeah, I don't have any access on my team at the moment,
Oh.
and my IOP was in the Black Rat set or some pieces of the Black Rat set 12-5. So it's possible. There are some options where you can go to 11-6 at level 100.
Amazing, amazing. On the very same theme, what is the easiest dungeon that you thought could do with a bit of a step up? You just walk through it as if it was a walk in the park.
Phew. Every other dungeon. I struggled only at Coolidge, the Drama Theater, and Moowolf a little bit, but the other were pretty easy for me.
Nice.
It's only my preference, but maybe some other people have other opinions.
Oh, I'm sure, and that's what I have found so far speaking to a wide variety of content creators is you can never predict people's answers, and they are always baffling and surprising. And today, everyone who was here, Morrany's saved zap is Breather Village, and not for the reasons it is mine as well. No, 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 no. It's because of the color scheme that he finds appeasing, and also the proximity to all the markets, which is brilliant. You can't expect things like that, can you?
Yeah,
No,
true.
you can't foresee things like that. Amazing.
But I didn't saw you at Breeder Village because you're always in dreams, right?
That for the last 6 months, yeah.
So do you have your zap in the dreams?
No, I wish it were the case for a while, but thankfully it's just one button press away. T, boom,
Yeah,
you're
true.
already in there. Yeah,
True.
yeah. Because you've asked me questions and I've answered them, and we've got a VIP in the chat here today. Sevi, the person in the chat here today, is the reason why I've gotten into breeding, why my zap is the breeder village. Here's the backstory of it. I started the game about a year and a half ago, and 3 months into my gameplay, I come across a craw that is dealing so much damage that has helped me with what are they called? Bounties, you know? You know the ones I mean. So I'd find them. I wanted to get character scrolls, so I hunted bounties. And then someone jumped in called Doomy, for those of you who know, they know. And they helped me with bounties. And then I saw that their set was insane. They were dealing so much damage. I was like, what's your gear? And they thought I was a cool person for whatever reason and invited me to the guild. and then I come across Sevi, who's one of the largest breeders in the entire game. What does he need? He needs someone to level his Drago Turkeys from level 1 to 5. That's the perfect job for someone who just started. A noob like me. What do? I take all of his Drago Turkeys, level them up to level 5 and get paid for it. Just imagine playing the game and getting paid so I can gear up. One thing he does is breed on a mega scale. Yeah, he's a retired breeder now, but he is, whenever he wants to activate his operation, he is one of the highest out there. So one of the operations he has confided in me is to give me his Drago Turkeys. But where does he ask me to come to? To the Breeders app. And then I started going there more often than I normally would. And then I just saved it and never changed it from there. So that's a little piece of trivia about my Zap.
Nice. Our Zap.
Our Zap.
Our Zap. Now it's our Zap.
I like how the conversation quickly went communist. It's our Zap, Comrade Morrany. Granted.
Yes.
Right. Just from your previous experience doing a handful of difficult dungeons, a handful of up to level 120 dungeons, let's say, what was the boss mechanic that you found really well worked so far? Brilliant. Genius. You wouldn't change anything about it.
In my recent recordings, there was the Nagate dungeon, the 130 dungeon. I think that's pretty unique. In Pandala, the water dungeon.
Yes.
So I liked it a lot. It's not that easy, but when you figure out how you do it, then it's really cool. It's something unique to the game, and it's not level 200 stuff.
Amazing. Yeah, so it is a break with all the previous type of mechanics you've had to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Back to Morrany. We're not finished yet with the quickfire round. Would you like to keep going with it?
For sure, go
Fabulous, fabulous. You've told me earlier that you're an old-timer. You played back when Dofus was great. This is a controversial thing to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back when Dofus was amazing and everyone remembers that nostalgia whiff. Back then, what was the spell or mechanic that no longer exists but existed back then that you miss so much that you'd love to bring back? You can be controversial if you want.
Yeah, that's for sure the Peki dungeon. This was my favorite dungeon, brought me so much joy and hate all at the same time. I like this dungeon a lot, that you can basically do one room over and over again, and then for example like 10 times the pre-rooms, and then do 10 times the boss monster. This was really cool.
Let me ask you a trivia question, see if you're on point. Is there any other dungeon that you can still do that with now in 2.0?
Yeah, it's the Colossus
Let's go! Morrany's in the house! Well
sure.
done. Well
but
done.
This dungeon, yeah, it's not nostalgic, you know? Yeah, it's there for a long time, but Peki is... It stops after 5 stacks, like Sevi says.
Yes, so it's not infinite, but it's similar to it, and I'll accept your answer. You're absolutely right. Sevi is just too knowledgeable. The answers like that don't satisfy him. he needs to be exact. He is next level. I'll have him on the stream one day. Yeah.
And then I will roast him.
You heard that. Next time you're into the actual interview podium, Seb, you're getting roasted by Morrany. Cool. So, there is a natural question that comes from your answer. I've noticed that you have a guild called...
Yes.
Can you tell us what the name of your guild is?
My guild is Peki Ultras.
Yes, which got me all curious just from your description in YouTube. The name of your guild. What is it about Peki Dungeon that you hated so much but also loved to the point of making it an identity piece? And immortalize it in your guild and YouTube channel?
I would say like first when I first jumped into the Peki Peki dungeon, I died like 20 times because I didn't know how to find him and to get to the system where he plays himself on the map.
Mm-hmm.
But after you figure that out, it was quite okay to do that. And back in the days, I had two cross in my team with the Bat's Eye, who was a big range, and you could do it every turn, I think, or something like
Nice.
that.
Mm.
So it was easy to get to him, and yeah, I don't know.
Amazing.
Peki Peki is a special place in my heart because I farmed there a lot all day, only in the Peki Peki dungeon.
Wow. So you spent a lot of time in that area. Was it in Pandala, if I remember right?
Yeah, it was in Pandala, and back in the days I was not able to do the Uga dungeon because
Mm.
I was lacking of strength damage because the Uga had weakness and strength element, and
Mm-hmm.
you needed a IOP, and I didn't have a IOP with a big
Mm.
Wrath. So my opportunity or my team was designed basically perfectly for Peki Peki, and I had a guild member where I exchanged the Peki Peki fabrics against the Uga spines. So I was also able to craft the Uga sets or
Nice.
the sets from the Uga.
So
Yeah,
he was good with that dungeon and you were good with that dungeon and you combined efforts.
exactly.
Oh, we've got new information about Peki Peki Dungeon which I didn't know about because I didn't know Alliance were that old. But you could only do the dungeon if you had the right Alliance back in the days. Does that ring a bell with you?
Not really, to be honest.
That says more about Sevi and how old he is in the game and his knowledge of it than anything else. So don't worry about that question.
After
uh,
that, I was placed outside. Okay. But
yeah.
before you enter the Dutch, there was like a big Arachne. You had to place her on a tiles to open the gate for the Peki Peki area or the Peki Peki dungeon. You
Oh,
remember that? Or you
absolutely
never
not.
were to the Peki?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
How would you move an arachne? Is there like a mob that can attack you, or how did it work?
yeah, that was a mob level 400,
What?
and there was one tile so where you have to place the Arachne onto,
Uh huh.
and you have to place your character basically behind left and right, so the Arachne has only one way to go. And
Wow.
yeah, at least you needed yeah three persons at least, I would say, so
Wow.
you can do it really fast.
This
But
is.
I was running a team out of 8 people, 8 characters back
Oh
in the days,
wow! In back in the
which
old version of Dofus.
yeah.
That's amazing. You must have been rich.
Yeah, you had to do a lot of farming to get your subscription with greens back in the
Oh.
yeah. This
I'm,
was out around the area where they introduced the greens.
Here's the thing, and why I'm loving having conversations with people who have played the game back then. I'll just say back then because it's a long period, but it doesn't tell you exactly when. I remember when I used to play, there were three periods. One in the early stages of the game, and then somewhere in 2011, just before Idols, Fry Ghost, and all the interesting stuff, and now. So I've missed a lot of really interesting nuggets in the middle. Back when I
Yeah.
used to play, the only way I knew how to get a subscription was called audio codes. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about now.
Not really.
Is this a boomer moment where I'm telling you about the 1945 wars and you're all listening?
Yeah. I know pay safe cards, but I don't know what you said. I really didn't know what is that.
So in North Africa, because we were sort of a similar setup to France, the only way to get subscribed was to buy. You call a certain number and you exchange phone credits. So it will show on your bill at the end of the month, but you didn't see it now. And then you exchange like phone credits. It's like a
Okay.
bill
Yeah.
that you apply on your phone line in exchange for a code that they send you via text, and then you redeem that in game.
Okay. That sounds completely weird, and
Yeah.
that sounds fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a thing only in the office. You're absolutely right, Sevi. And they were called audio codes. And I remember if you walked into Brackmar, there were people who would sell them, but they will tell you I'll take half the price before and then half after, but you never knew if it was a scam or not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's how. Hey, we've got someone in the chat that knows what I'm talking about. Nice one, Dizzy. Nice one. I was thinking I'm completely loony going crazy being on my own, thinking that that existed when it really didn't exist. Yeah. The thing about it, I have a funny anecdote. If you take somebody's phone and you sub, they didn't know that you've done that. It's until they receive the bill later on at the end of the month that they're like, oh, what is this thing? Why am I being charged for this thing? So I would take phones from relatives, don't tell them. I'm sure they were pissed off with me at the time. I would steal phones from relatives and subscribe for a month or whatever. Cool, cool. So, Pecky, we've gone all over that. Thank you very much for that blast from the past. I'm almost tempted to ask you, Morani, because you've played back, and I'm seeing this complicity between you and Sevi, who's the only person I know has definitely played back then. And
Yeah.
what other things, what other blasts from the past can you bring us? Things that only a handful of people will remember. Go
That's a
as
good
far
question.
back as you can.
Go as far as back as I
Yeah,
can.
yeah, yeah. There's unlimited nostalgia. Be ready for this. I'm sure this is gonna be right in the feels.
Yeah,
By
a
the way,
lot of people can. Hmm?
sorry to interrupt. By the way, chat, feel free to throw in there whatever you think is a blast from the past, things that only the OGs will remember. Sorry, go on, Morani.
Yeah, you can basically cheat in this topic because you can just access the retro server, and there is a lot of stuff which or basically how the game was before.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now,
um,
what things do you remember? Let's just stick to memory.
one thing is that when you crafted, for example, bread as a farmer, that you had to wait until 100, 200, 300 pieces of bread were crafted. So it was not by one click of a button. You had to wait.
One by
Uh,
one.
yeah, you had to wait for a specific time. I don't know, half a second, so one bread got crafted.
No.
So when you were crafting 1,000 breads, you had to wait like 15 minutes or something.
You had to set aside a couple of months to craft 1,000 breads.
Yeah, yeah. And there was also not the ability that you were making queues. So now you can make as a when you have like a gathering profession, you can make a queue, and your character is walking to the fishing spots or to the trees automatically.
Yeah,
Back in the days, you were sitting in front of the tree waiting that your character finishes, and then you click the next one,
there
and
was
it
no
took
shift.
ages. No,
No, my god, that is
no.
outstanding. I've got a question on the basis of this nostalgia while we're still here. I'm really enjoying it. Um, I still remember one of the things vividly is having to be confronted. This was critical as your experience as a Dofus player, having to decide which professions you were going to have. You couldn't have all of them. You definitely couldn't have all of them. So, what were the three professions you would choose if you had to redo it all over again today? Instead of having all of them, what three would you specialize in?
Depends on your class. When you are running a Secria, you have to do the farmer and the baker.
Mm-hmm.
That's a must-have, because when you don't have that, you don't have money because you have to buy all the bread from the
Uh-huh.
market.
Uh-huh.
If you don't run a Secria, then the must-have is a miner, in my opinion. A
Mm-hmm.
fisherman, because you could drop like the cracker
Oh,
loaves, or how it's
yes.
called,
The
for the Tintomant.
Kralov. Yeah. The
Yeah,
Kralov special fish. Yeah.
yeah, this one, so you can craft your own Tintomant.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, it's Inkiwelt in English. In German, it's in Tintomant. Sorry for that. Um,
Yeah.
what is the third one? Third one has to be a crafting profession like Or maging. Oh, no, maging
You
could
could,
have also
yes,
three magings,
you
right?
could pick three, and then you could have three maguses underneath it, if I'm right. I'm not entirely sure because my memory is not to trust with the amount of whiskey I drink every day.
Yeah, so I would pick the jeweler as a third profession, and then I would go for like jeweler mage, tailor mage, and also shoemaker mage.
Fabulous. Thank you very much for that. I'm just conscious of time because we have another guest coming in very shortly and we need to
Yeah,
take a
sure.
break. I want to get your sense, Morrany's sense of beauty and enjoyment of design. What can you tell us about the best looking top 3 items?
Yeah, it's the from back in the days or from the actual game now?
From now, things that people can hear you talk about and then go and appreciate visually.
Yeah, I have to say the Inky, that's for sure, because
Yeah.
I'm a OG player, so Inky is a must-have.
Mm-hmm.
The I also have to say the Solomon. It's also a must-have because
Yes.
it was my favorite hat.
Yeah.
And a third one, the also a nice item I like because of the past was the Berserker Broker hat or something it's called.
Oh,
184 hat.
184 Berserker hat.
Yeah, Berserker hat. Is it called Berserker?
Hat.
I think it's called Berserker.
I'm not entirely sure. That is something I've never heard before. It's definitely a curveball.
Let me
Dofus,
check.
yeah. Oh, is it a Borker sort of?
Yeah,
Yes, I know.
from the broker.
I think I know the one you mean, but the Berserker set or Borker set does not have a hat.
No, not that's the wrong set. But how do I find it? I don't know
We'll
how
look for
the.
it later. We'll just keep
Yeah,
going.
sure.
But yeah,
Yeah,
fabulous. The fact that you've mentioned Solomon and Inkyvale are two of the Gladiaborg. Hold on, let me look it up. Gladiaborg hat.
yeah, but
Gladiaborg.
Tuatha had helmet, 189.
189, so I'm not entirely sure what it is. The other thing I wanted to ask from chat, please be mindful of this, please, and remind me next time. Next time we have Golden Spirit over, please, if I don't remember it myself, remind me to ask him about cosplays, because I've just had the idea right now. Hearing Morrany talk about his favorite items, cosmetics, I was thinking of people actually making solo monks like a Japanese type of straw hat. And I just remembered on that basis that Golden Spirit is a prolific, what do you call them, cosplayers? People who make costumes and then go to conventions and do things like. So I definitely want to ask him about this next time. Nice. We have got a break going. We will take a minute and wait for the ad to finish before we resume our conversation, Morrany. And after that, when we go back from the break, I'm going to ask you one more question about design so we can completely exhaust this topic. And then I'll give you a platform to tell us about what the future holds for Morrany. How does that sound?
Sounds amazing.
Fabulous.
I was just drinking a sip. Sorry.
No worries. Fabulous. For everyone watching now, we have another guest coming right after Morrany. A fabulous gentleman that we will get to know about, what his quirks are. I can tell you already for a fact, I'm going to enjoy the intensity of this gentleman right here. We'll ask him questions, so feel free to chime in and pop in your questions in the chat if you are curious about anything from hearing him speak. No one has redeemed the water for me, but I will still. And welcome back, everyone. The ad has finished. We are back live with everyone watching now. Just to give you a piece of context, we are still with Morrany Dofus right now. We will ask him one last aesthetic question. If you have anything that you want to know about him or ask him directly, pop it in the chat. If you don't, we will move into the last segment where he gives us some last words, tells us where to find him and how to support him. And then we will take a 5-minute break and then get ready to have our next guest on. How are we feeling about this, Morrany?
We should directly jump into that.
Let's go. You mean the last bit, or?
Yeah, sure.
I still want to get your opinion on some pretty vital aspects of the game. Can you tell me, if you could be granted one wish in the next update when Unity rolls out, what is something that you definitely want to see happen? Some change, big change that you're expecting?
Do you mean from functionality-wise or from...
Anything in the game that rubs you off the wrong way, that you have noticed could do with a change, that if you could change yourself, you just go into the code and change it, but would like Ankama to do it, and if they're listening now, they'll make it happen for you. What is that?
It has something to do with the subscription model, for my opinion, because it would be nice if they could introduce like a subscription model where you buy 1 week and get 7 tokens for each day, and then you can activate this token for a specific day when you want to play, so you don't have to waste
if you're going off on holiday, you can pause it.
Yeah. So this would be something.
So I think you're in charge, you'd like to be in charge of your usage of subscription days.
Again, sorry?
You'd like to be in charge of how you use your subscription days.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they gave 3-day tokens a couple times, yes, but I think for all of us who are working, sometimes you have a really busy week or something where you cannot play, and then you are wasting your subscription. I think that would be just an option to make the game a little bit more attractive to new people who are not really engaged completely with Dofus. For us as a who love the game for like 16 years, it doesn't make a difference. But I think for new players, could be like a good option to bring them into the game.
Amazing. I love your answer. It's nothing that we've heard so far in the podcast. It's something fresh, new, and quite insightful. So thank you very much for that, Morrany.
You're welcome.
One last question before we move on to the last segment, where you tell us how to find you and how to best support you as a content creator. I've asked this question in every one of my conversations before with content creators, and I can tell you for a fact that I was blown away. Every time it was brilliant. I never regretted asking this question because we've all learned something brilliant on that basis. And it has to do with the exploration of sidekicks. How has Morrany dealt with sidekicks since they've come across? And have you found anything particularly interesting in one of them? Something that you've noticed helps you? Something that we should know about?
To be honest, I only used sidekicks on the Temporis servers. So when these Temporis servers are coming out, like Osotopia 1, 2, or the Scroll Slayers, I think it was called, there I used sidekicks, but in the normal game I don't use them. And since the update 2.7, I didn't use the sidekicks at all, to be honest.
Thank you very much. So, is there any? Have you engaged with them at all in your Zero to Hero, or is it just the 4 characters permanently being played?
Yeah, exactly. It's just the 4 characters, and I don't want to add a sidekick at the moment because I also don't need it, to be honest.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much for that answer. Perfectly happy with it. And now we move on to the last section with our conversation with Morrany. Take as much time as you need. I want you to look at the camera. Well, you can't look at the camera given that we don't have an image for you, but I want you to address everyone that is watching today. How can they best find your content? What links can they follow? I will post those in the chat for everyone to see. how do you like to be best supported as a content creator so you can get the new PC, so we can get the new content that we all want? And at the end, if you can tell us, answer this question that has come from the chat: when face reveal of Morrany? The floor is yours.
We can make a deal when I hit the 1,000 subscribers.
You've heard it.
Currently I'm at 455, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, how you can find me? I only have like my YouTube channel. I don't have any other, social media or something. I do have like a Twitch channel, but I didn't stream there. Well, I didn't do it in the past, but maybe I will do it in the future. I don't know. But yeah, for me it would be the greatest support if you check out my videos, leave a like under my video, and the biggest thing, subscribe, and leave a comment what you like, what you do not like, what you would like me to improve, all that good stuff. That would be everything I want from the community.
So is it safe to say that 2024, Morrany 2024, the goal is to hit 1K subs?
That's my goal for 2024.
You've heard the man. If anyone wants to contribute, if you've enjoyed one video, one segment, one answer of Morrany, go and show him some love. Just one little subscribe. You can always unsubscribe later on if you're fed up with Dofus content or you've moved on in life. But for now, there is a goal. There is a man putting in the work. Let's help him get there. For sure, Morrany, you've got my upvote. You've got my subscribe. And thank you very much for coming in today. It was a blast speaking with you. You're an interesting fella. I hope you won't be a stranger to this side of things in Twitch and streamings. But you've got people that are unsubbing and resubbing just so they can be at the top of your notifications. Eslex, you cheeky man. So with that said, thank you very much, Morrany, for coming.
Thank you very much, Single-Malt, for having me in this podcast, and I really appreciated the invite. Thank you.
The pleasure is shared.
All the best.